Hello everyone, good afternoon and happy Thursday. You are listening to Inside the Glass on Camp Student Radio. That's KAMP 1570 AM and streaming online at kamp.arizona.edu and on YouTube Live at Miracle on Ice and Facebook Live at Rob Leano 1. This is the one and only radio show at the University of Arizona that covers the greatest sport in this planet, that's being hockey. We got a great show planned for you today, and this first period, we're actually going to start by talking about another certain player who's actually currently playing on the Colorado Avalanche. His name is Matt Duchene. He, I think sometime this last summer, he requested to be traded from the Avalanche, and the Avalanche wanted to keep hold of him, but now it seems like he may be traded, and just in general, you see pictures everywhere. He's not happy. What do you guys think of this entire thing?
Well, there have been trade rumors about Matt Duchene leaving, of them wanting to get rid of him and being like, hey, maybe we need new people in here, we need new leadership, for years before he requested the trade. And they've sort of kept him around while he's still, they're like, hey, we're going to trade you, and they've been saying we're going to trade you for years, and now he's not getting traded, so, what's the kind of atmosphere in the room? He's probably not happy, so he's like, why don't you guys just finally trade me? If I come in and say, I want to be traded, I will not play for this team kind of thing, do sort of what Jonathan Drouin did, then maybe they'll actually listen. He'll actually go somewhere where he's not miserable.
Exactly. I mean, I saw this picture on, social media. It was their picture day for the Colorado Avalanche. You see him, of his, a typical hockey player stance with the stick behind the head, whatever. Previously, you see him, he's usually pretty happy and whatever.
Right.
This last one, he's just stone cold, just you could see he's just please, someone let me get out of here.
Well, I mean, now he's a husband and he's a dog dad, so I mean, maybe being a husband this off-season and also raising his little dog Paisley is wearing on him, or maybe it's the fact that he's playing for the worst team in the NHL. I don't know which. I'm not going to make any bold statements here.
I mean, there's also a reason why after a couple years, midway through the season, Jarome Iginla requested to be traded away from the Avalanche as well. Just so many people want to leave.
Well, in the Iginla's case, obviously he wanted to win a cup, and I mean, it's not to say Matt Duchene doesn't either, but it was more pertinent for Iginla, I see.
It's funny, you say Iginla wanted to win a cup, but he decides to go to the LA Kings.
I know, I say that. That's what everybody's like, oh, he's going to win a cup, and I was like, LA's not going to win a cup.
They're not. No. They're totally not.
We could have an hour on why they cannot win a cup, and we just talked about this before we came in the booth. It's pretty much what I think it's the leadership change that really sent them downhill. It could be a variety of things. Jonathan Quick's not what it used to be, I feel like.
Who's their new GM right now? Is it Rob Blake?
I don't know, honestly.
I think it's Rob Blake.
I forgot they lost Daryl Sutter, the best coach with the best sound bites in the entire league.
It's funny that you mentioned that he was the best coach because the Sharks wouldn't agree the same thing. 97 to 2003, or something like that. Some of the worst years that the Sharks have ever had.
Can't be as worse as Gretzky though, or as bad as, I should say.
I don't know. Maybe. It was pretty bad though. But I think.
But going back to Matt Duchene, I think.
Yeah,
we should.
Going back to that. I really think that in terms of that, just in general, to get things going, he should just be traded.
I agree.
I mean, is it going to be good in terms of talent for the Avalanche? I mean, they're going to be even worse, but...
I mean, all they're going to have is Nathan
MacKinnon.
MacKinnon, Landeskog, and Tyson Barrie. God bless Tyson Barrie's soul. He is such a good, underrated offensive defenseman, and he has been suffering and been on the radar for how long? If he was playing for a better team, he'd be a much bigger star than he is right now.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of those ones where you have, young players on a certain team, they stay with them, don't get the biggest luck. I mean, it's... Right,
because they're just stuck with Nugent Hopkins, Eberle, Taylor Hall, awful experience, Yakupov, awful experiences in Edmonton. That's just because it's Edmonton, but...
Yeah, it's... I mean, I think when Edmonton changed their coach, they've only been getting better since McClellan took over.
That's true. I got to agree.
And it hurts me to say that.
I didn't really like McClellan personally. Like, I just saw him sort of like in the room in the Epics, and he just didn't. He wasn't my kind of coach. I feel like he's just not the same.
Best way I'll put it is he got San Jose a President's Trophy.
That's true.
I mean, like, obviously, President's Trophy, you get cursed and you don't win the cup. But still, it's a pretty good...
It's worth something.
It's worth something.
When you know back in the day you had to get over the Kings, and the Kings were an almost dynasty, yeah, it was kind of, hey, let's do the best we can in the regular season. But going back to Matt Duchene, because we keep getting sidetracked from Matt Duchene.
I think in general, like, a lot of these are very similar topics. We're just like, oh, yeah, this is similar to this, similar to this.
There's a lot of connections, because everybody gets traded around. And the funny thing is one of probably the craziest, I mean, I don't rule out Matt Duchene going anywhere, or really anybody going anywhere. But what I found to be the most curious was that Matt Duchene was rumored to be going to Chicago, which isn't outlandish in the fact that Chicago is lacking on the wings after, I mean, they got Brandon Saad back, but generally they've always had trouble with the wings. Last season they could not find good wingers for Jonathan Taves, and he ultimately struggled because of it. And they did it as a unit. So Matt Duchene would fill that gap, but they don't have a lot of cap room for Matt Duchene. Yeah, and he's not going to take a little money.
I hear he has a lot of interest from other teams right now.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. He's such a hot player.
Yeah, Calgary, I think, was willing to give him a certain amount of money to him, too.
Who else does Calgary have, really? I mean, you don't have your...
That's true.
Sean Monahan, Goudreau, and Hoodler anymore. You don't have them on a line, so...
You have to rely on your young guys, and, I mean, that might not always work.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for them for a little bit, but, I mean, at this rate, Calgary is in a weird... They're almost in, like, an Ottawa position. They're just sort of at a standstill until they can find that star player. I mean, they have Johnny Gaudreau, but you need... In their case, they need the supporting acts.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa needs... Just since I already compared them, Ottawa needs their star player. They don't have one, frankly.
Also very true. Anyways, so he can go anywhere, really, but...
Yeah, I think, except for places, I think, with cap hits problems, because at
Toronto.
this point, yeah, always Toronto with their negative cap space. I think the biggest problem here is, his cap hit, because at this point he's going to be traded, and he's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go sign somewhere else. That's no big deal. But taking, I think it's a $9 million cap hit for probably another year or two, that's not something a lot of teams can take on. And especially, you're going to be getting a good player out of Matt Duchene. That's out of the question. You're going to be getting your money's worth, but it's a question of just you have to be able to fit him in there.
Because a lot of these rosters are already, they're pretty much set in terms of where they, a lot of these teams are happy with the current cap hit that they have, the cap space that they have. In terms of depth, whatever, it's you're a good player, but we have our top 6 forwards already.
Right. I mean, that's for contending teams anyways. I mean, there are still plenty of teams who don't have the top 6.
Also very true.
But what do they have to give up? Because I think, personally, I'm forgetting that you actually have to give something up and trade for Matt Duchene. If you don't have... Generally, I guess now that we bring it up, you're going to be looking for a top 6 if you're looking at Matt Duchene. So you don't have your top 6. So who are you going to give up? Are you going to give up star prospects? Are you going to give up a starting goaltender that you really don't want to give up, but it's at the cost of something?
Obviously, there's also the draft pick route, but that can prove costly later on.
Oh yeah.
It's a gamble doing draft picks. I know several teams have done that. And then they end up being really bad over the next couple of years because really they just you know what, we have a really solid team right now. We don't need draft picks, so we're going to go and give them away.
But you always need draft picks because there's going to be that time where all your guys, you're going to have the Detroit Red Wings situation. All your guys are retiring and leaving, and you don't have many people there.
Although I will say that the Martin Jones trade was a pretty solid one.
That one included mostly draft picks, didn't it? I feel like
it was San Jose's first-round draft pick for the next year.
That's totally worth it. Because it went to Boston. Who did Boston draft with that?
Lucic.
No.
I was thinking traded. They traded. So remember, Martin Jones was
in the Kings. Went to Boston.
He got traded to Boston first for Lucic. So that's why.
Right.
I was thinking ahead of myself.
Okay.
So Lucic went to.
LA.
Went to LA.
I almost said Vegas.
Yeah. And then, so who did Boston trade that year? Oh yeah, I think it was
That was
Yeah,
before.
I
That was
can't-
when Boston had 3 back-to-back with like 3 consecutive picks in the first round. So that might have been part of it. That's when they got like Jakob Zaboral and a couple other. I think Pasternak was. Actually, I think he was drafted the year before that. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely times where you can finesse some really good trades with draft picks, and it doesn't hurt you at all. And what you get is better in the long run. But there are so many teams nowadays that they lack the depth in their organization as a whole that they just can't give up those picks. You're just like if Chicago was to trade for Matt Duchene, they have so many young guys, but they don't have anything. Like Rockford, their AHL affiliate is like decimated. There's like nobody there. I mean, they had a horrible record last season, so they need to hold on to those. I mean, even a team that's so good right now was good in the past and is gonna be good in the future. I think it's a lot harder to make trades now, especially with caps and everything.
Oh yeah,
Got
the whole cap space,
salaries,
and just more greedy players. And
when will the greedy players end? I think is the question. Like maybe is there
when
a
will it
time
end?
where like stop?
If the NHL has to go through another lockout, that's when it will end.
That's true. Or maybe it'll be worse almost. Like it would. You can't imagine the NHL going through another lockout because that means the players are even more greedy than they are right now.
It's gonna only get worse, right? Because like it's like a domino effect. People keep wanting more and more money. Obviously, the older players, they're willing to take pay cuts because like, you know what, like I'm just here because I love playing the game. But there's these guys.
Not Patrick Marleau.
Yeah, well, I would even say not even Thornton either. Did you see what Thornton's making this?
Oh
this
yeah,
year?
he's making still
he's
like
making $8 million.
Big chunk of change.
$8 million for 1 year. I mean.
Not Matt Duchene. Shane Doan made a lot of money for doing. Let me just say, it's like squat, like offensively for the team, and pretty much defensively as well. He was a leadership sort of figure, and you really can't put a price on that in a way. But that was they made bad choice with that.
I mean, let's put it this way: you have those players making the same amount of money as, like Johansson and Burns.
We always go back to Johansson because that is like the worst contract in the NHL right now.
I mean, look at it. He's making the same amount of money as Burns.
And who's Ryan Johansson again? Like the dude who got traded from Columbus for picking daisies and not playing defense. He just is like, let me go skate in circles while we're playing 3-on-3 in overtime. Yeah, that's the dude making $8 million who doesn't play defense. But it's the same in the NBA. James Harden got paid how much money and he doesn't play defense.
Yeah, that's I just really I really don't know in terms of these contracts and whatever and why certain players won't get signed or certain players won't get traded to certain players because of all this cap hit.
Do we even know the value of Matt Duchene? We can look at his contract and be like, hey, he has this much money, but do we actually know like what he's actually worth? Because is he overpaid? Is he getting paid too little? Like,
let me check his cap friendly just to see how much he's made previously.
I feel like it's around $9 million, but I think I'm thinking that just because his jersey number is number 9.
$6 million is his cap hit.
Oh, that's so much better than I expected.
Yeah,
but not just cap hit wise. Like, do we know how much he's worth? Like Ryan Johansson, he can get paid however much money, but he's not worth that. So how much would a team actually fork over and not be ridiculous to get Matt Duchene?
It'd probably be just like I wouldn't even say it's not even that much of a pay cut for Duchene if he leaves. Like it'd probably be like, what would be like 5-something million.
Oh, that he would get paid by another team?
Yeah.
Oh heck, he could probably get paid more. I mean, if he goes to the right team.
Yeah, if he goes to the right team with more cap hit, but like it depends on. Because the thing is, a lot of these teams want to have still more room because they might want to sign players if things don't turn out with their other players and whatever. Mm-hmm. So and we see that all happen all the time. It's like, you know what, we're gonna waive you, we're gonna get somebody else, and then like
and just have a change of.
But when that player gets waived, their contract is still on the cap hit for the year. Like.
Oh, is it?
At least I'm pretty sure it was like
when they buy him out. I know that.
When they buy him out, it's a whole different story. But
when you're waiving them, they get picked up by another team though.
If they get picked up by another team, then then it's not a problem.
Okay.
But if they get waived and no one picks them up, they're still responsible for that contract.
Right, because then don't they have to go report to the AHL, I think is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's when you put them down. Okay. I was completely thinking, I was like, what? I was like, I know when you waive them, that's when you try to send them down, they go on waivers. I was like, but this might not be what we're talking about, but we got it.
Yeah. I think that's what happened with, what's his name? Rafi Torres.
Oh, wow. That's what we're going to bring up when we talk about Rafi Torres? We're not going to bring up anything else?
Hey. It was pretty funny, though. He got, suspended for, 41 games.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then,
pretty sure.
When he comes back, San Jose's like, yeah, we're going to waive you. No one wants him because, obviously, he's Rafi Torres.
Yeah.
So then he's like, all right, Rafi Torres reports to the San Jose Barracuda. It's like... But then, of course, a couple weeks later...
I think he got suspended again.
Well, not he gets suspended. Well, there's that, but...
there's that little minor detail we forgot about.
It was more of... He was part of the trade to Toronto for San Jose to get Polak and Spalling.
Oh, man, Nick Spalling, he's been around. I remember when he was traded in the James Neal trade from Nashville to Pittsburgh.
Yep. And then...
He still... He's not in the San Jose organization?
I have no idea where he is right now.
We should do a segment on that. Players that we know of and been like, where are they now? Where did they go?
I do think the one thing, though, is... what was funny, though, is Toronto... when Toronto acquired the Rafi Torres, they didn't even want to put him on the Marlies. They sent him back to the Barracuda.
Oh my gosh! Did they have him on loan? I guess.
Yeah.
Probably what they. I don't. The AHL's rules are nuts, honestly. With hey, we'll loan you, and then we get him back at the end of the year. The Roadrunners did that, and I still don't quite have a concept on that. That's
it was weird. Anyways, we keep. I guess because
I really love Matt Duchene. I have his jersey. And I almost wore it today, but instead I wore my sweater, so it was gonna be just as hot wearing it. Whatever.
Yeah.
So obviously, I know, what kind of player he is, and I care about the situation, but there's a lot, I'm kind of speechless about it, because it's an old game, we've been beating this horse dead for how many years he's needed to be traded for how long, and, are they finally gonna do it, and who's it gonna go to, and what are they gonna get in return? Maybe we should go just for, bold picks? I mean, he can really go for anywhere, though.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Based off his value and what teams are going for. Let me even check the rest of the teams and how much their
cap hit is.
How much cap space they have. Cap space. So let's say he get a decent raise. So it's more than $6 million. It's less than half the league already. I'll even say let's start at $7 million.
Well, we're talking about just him getting traded. So his current contract has to go. So let's just find the teams that he can fit in right now if he was traded.
All right. So that starts. So you got the Predators, the Kings, the Sabres, the Jets, the Blue Jackets, the Oilers, the Canadiens, the Sharks, the Devils, the Panthers, the Hurricanes, and the Coyotes.
I can imagine him going to Carolina possibly. I mean, Carolina lacks that. They have a lot of stars on defense, but they lack that one star up front.
Mm-hmm.
They have literally every Blackhawks player who's ever been semi-relevant on their team, except for somebody who really to staple that team and hold that team down. I don't think Jeff Skinner is their number one guy. I don't think he ever will be. I don't think is Jordan. I just forgot his name. Jordan Stahl. Is he still there? I'm pretty sure he's still there. He was named captain because after his brother was traded.
I think he is. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not going to be their number one guy. He's a big guy, and he's probably still going to be your number one center no matter what. But you got to have your Matt Duchene, your goal scorer, he would be a good fit in Carolina, I think. And, I mean, Carolina obviously doesn't have a lot of other guys who are making a lot of money. I just know that off the top of my head kind of thing.
Well, I mean, they don't have enough revenue. That team in general. They can't.
Oh, no, Carolina's successful beyond all means. Their fan engagement and everything. They have really dedicated fans, and they have some of the coolest stuff that they do for fan engagement. I absolutely adore it.
I mean, I've seen pictures of the arena. Sometimes I'm just I look at it and I'm like, what is that? Is that?
Well, I mean, a lot of times I think when I watched it when I was scouting out Noah Hanif in his rookie year for the entire season, there was a lot of times that they were going through the blizzards and stuff, so people couldn't make it to games. But I mean, for the most part, they had seats filled, and they were they've been playoff contenders for years. It's just been the fact of like actually making it.
Maybe I'm mistaking them for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, Florida Panthers are sad. Carolina Hurricanes, they are your textbook definition of like a thriving unconventional market, I guess you could say. Because like who expects hockey to really be in Carolina? Like nobody ever thinks about the Hurricanes. But here they are. They're not winning the cup every year, but they're making a name for themselves, and they've already won it in years past. So
I'm pretty sure with all that praise, somewhere in Connecticut, Hartford Whalers fans are just crying.
Oh, absolutely. I know a few people who used to live in Connecticut and were huge fans of them. So I mean,
the theme song that I played, like apparently everyone in Connecticut loves that song.
I mean, I'm not surprised. That thing's jamming. I mean, spoiler alert, there's a Christmas version, so you guys might want to tune in around December to maybe get a listen to it every week. But
there's also a lounge version. I'm not sure when I'll ever play that one, but
Valentine's Day. Do we have a show? No, Valentine's Day is a Tuesday, I think. Dang. I feel like that would be a good.
Yeah.
Snappy,
maybe we can do it as kind of like the segue, because we're going from like a really crazy like upbeat one. The lounge one will kind of get you like a little bit laid back going into the Christmas one.
Then you get the jingle bells that roll out and you're ready to get jazzy. Not the jazziest Christmas song out there from hockey, but one of the best, I'll say.
Anyways, we're going to take a small break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk U of A hockey.
Our favorite near and dear to our hearts.
Alright, we'll be back.